There we go. Excellent connection. Good, good. We are live. Send out the link to people. There. Stop us from hearing my voice on my phone. Hello, Kenzie. I didn't think you would see that yet. Hello, Mike. Good afternoon or evening, gentlemen. Please present your Y chromosomes on the door for inspection. You still with us, Raptor?
I am.
Good.
I have nothing to add though, except sexism is funny.
Yes. Okay, and hello, Larasco and the father. Just first things first, can you all hear Raptor? Wait for further confirmation with bated breath.
Just fish, salmon, Plodicus.
It smells like your sweat and balsam. Then we're doing it right.
The stench.
Yes, they can hear you. Excellent. Hello, Bagel.
Like,
How you doing? Cheap beer, you insult me. Oh, have we got a show for you guys tonight? See, we're starting off with covering Norman
got us so
Bhutan and how he handles criticism, which already sounds hilarious.
hear the excitement in my voice. I am very excited for this.
Yes, as you should be. What up? I bought earbuds before the appointment so I can listen to the waiting room. Always a good idea. First on the menu, the roast of Norman Bhutan. Yes. All right. Let's see, just wait a couple more minutes. Let people get in if we can. By waiting room, I mean the single chair right outside the pharmacist's office at Walgreens. Fair enough. Ah, there's a page for Father Donutty.
In Bigfoot.
Okay, my ride is here. Enjoy the subforestry without my hilarious presence. Have fun, Kens. We'll miss you.
Miss out on something based,
Yeah,
epic. We
and I can say in about 30
them.
minutes, it's going to get even more based in epic. says we got 7 viewers, so if there's any more people here, make your presence known.
Subs cowards.
Sent K the link too, so you better be here. It's also a page for a new Norm of Bhutan and Bullying that's notably shorter than the other Norm articles. It also has a picture of TTG. Teen Titans Go Beast Boy for some reason. Okay. Darius, so glad to see you. I'm doing well. How are you? Okay, right. It's probably hard to type in chat with squid tentacles, so do not encourage that. If I remember correctly, the MD&D page was created by a spamming troll and edited later by someone else. All right, well, Raptor, you ready to get started?
But yeah, I'm more than ready.
That's what I want to hear. All right, so we're gonna cover Norman Bouton and his criticism. Fine as usual. Sorry, I haven't been showing up for a while. I've just been busy with different life stuff. Oh, no problem, man. I'm just glad you can join us. I hope everything is going well with life stuff. So, yeah, the page here starts with a quote. One of the marks of a really good writer is the ability to take criticism. Apparently by Lily of the Hashkatha Forum. I don't know if I said that right. Let's see. Criticism of both himself and his book is something which Norman Bouton has demonstrated he is unable to handle in an efficient manner. It is, in fact, one of the very things that has become so infamous about him. What Bouton seems to have never figured out is that one reason his book has attracted so much negative publicity is because of his immature response to criticism and his apparent need to respond to every single bit of criticism on the internet. Well, he's doing a shit job with our readings of his book.
Ah, Norman, show yourselves. Don't be afraid, coward. Just like a man.
Ah. So yeah, the first category we got here is Catholic Answers. A longtime and active member of Catholic Answers Forum, CAF, Bhutan started a thread in the
Catholic
Catholic
cringe.
in the Catholic Authors, Writers, Publishers group subforum in order to advertise and gain more attention for Empress Theresa. I mean, even with like the heavy like pro Christian messages in it, I don't think it's a book that Catholics would enjoy. Um, what followed was a series of posts between himself, a female user named Kamaduck, and a male user named RPRP6. Uh, am I saying that right?
Could be RP or psych.
Could be, yeah. RPR is like, yeah, we'll go with that. Sounds better. Kamaduk was initially sympathetic and supportive of Bhutan, while Psyche became something of an arch nemesis. Oh, I like this guy already. Having already ran a negative Amazon review and now opposing him directly in the CAF thread. Became especially hilarious when Bhutan warned Kamaduk and Psyche that Psyche was playing mind games with him and said to her, "Are you exchanging private messages with this guy? Don't do it. Don't let him get into your head." Uh, Eventually, Kalmaduk discovered that Bhutan had written about Theresa using a figure skating outfit in a sexual manner. In other words, she discovered that what many before her had discovered. Bhutan's good little Catholic girl wasn't that good. Her response was direct. Do you want to read this one?
I'll be Norman
Okay.
because Norman.
This is the first scene you've posted that has personally offended me. I'm 17 and a figure skater, and I've competed multiple times in the same dress, one that just so happens to have a full back, front, loose but full length sleeves, and a high collar, which, apart from any modesty concerns, are also useful for keeping warm. I can hardly claim to be a shining example of purity, but I can tell you that that whole scene is completely unjustifiable. Is it understandable? Maybe, apart from cutting up a dress on the spot. That's just ridiculous. But it shows that Theresa has some very serious flaws and little to no respect for Steve and Jack. She's intentionally taunting them, dressing as immodestly as possible, and on top of that, she sees absolutely nothing wrong with her actions. Is that seriously what you think of us? Is that's your model for what a Catholic girl should be? Cat Piss Everdeen, another 17-year-old heroine, would never do something like this. Well, she's fictional. She played up her romance with Pee Pee Boy because she's trying to save both their lives, but never intentionally tempts or flaunts her body at him. Does Cat Piss have flaws? Yeah, absolutely. She also has halfway sensible priorities, which do not involve using her sexuality to taunt men for fun of it. Bagel says, "I'll be Norman because Norman." Raptor Rex 2021. Um, these aren't the
True though.
actions. These aren't the actions of a reasonable or moral person. You can call this sort of behavior exploring her sexuality, but any way you slice it, it's wrong, disrespectful, and unrealistic. Again, no girl in her right mind is going to shred her clothes on the spot just to taunt a boy she doesn't care about. Maybe that's harsh criticism. It's not. That's perfectly justified. That's how I feel, and it's how many Catholic girls more faithful than I are going to feel. It's better for you to know about your target audience's reaction from the start. Uh, as he usually does in the face of honest criticism, Bhutan simply ignored this and offered no response. The thread fell into a series of self advertisements from him.
Buy
Uh,
my book. This epic book has sex.
I'm just
Um,
imagining like the
no
cardboard
sex.
cutout from
Sex for my children.
I'm just imagining the cardboard cutout from the critic with Bhutan's face on it. Buy my book! Buy my book! Bhutan
Buy
is, is
my
currently
book.
banned from CAF, though for what reason is not entirely sure. Apparently, he was suspended 5 times in 2013, most likely for the way he spoke against non Catholics and non Christians.
Not even Catholics want him.
Jeez. All right. We got now the writing forums. What a specific name. Bhutan signed up for writing forums in October of 2012. Oh, and actually, Raptor, if there's anything specific on the page you want me to jump to, just say so. Before
Okay.
he published Empress Theresa and claimed that he was there to find out what people think of it. That's in quotes, so I have a feeling that's not going to go well. Have we gone to this clothes tearing thing, or did I manage to blank that out with bourbon and anger? I think was that the part when they were in college? Because I don't remember Jack being brought up again.
I think that was in the part in college.
Okay. In addition to his introduction thread, he started two other threads regarding his book. In one, he asked for opinions and shared an excerpt. He received friendly and helpful critiques regarding his style. As expected, Bhutan rejected them and made excuses for his writing. He told some that their opinion was invalid since they hadn't read the whole book, and yet at the same time refused to share anything substantial. He insulted other posters and their advice, saying about the latter, whether they make the story better or worse doesn't seem to be a major concern around here. Oh, God. Tonix claimed that he was disappointed by what he encountered. One forum member stated, "This forum is about helping each other with writing skills and, in the process, also learning some writing skills for yourself. It's not a forum where we praise each other until the cows come home." Another member said, "You don't want our advice. You don't like our criticism. So why are you wasting your time here?" A just question, my liege. An earlier edition because it's not the ebook I have. Oh. Hmm. In the other thread, it was more of the same. Member named Ams Amsatel posted a blunt but honest reaction to Norman's writing and antics. It is easy to tell that none of your college degrees has involved a single creative writing course. Several of the members here have attempted to help you with critiques of your work, but all you do is become defensive and argue about things. It's quite the accomplishment to have finished writing any kind of book, but I have to ask, are the characters coming across to us as uh, flat and to you as fully realized because we are unattached to the characters while you are fully involved? I know that critiques, even kind ones, can feel like attacks, but that is absolutely not what we set out to do here. What many of our members have been trying to do for you is to help you make your book as good as it possibly can be. Well, it's noble, but I don't think it's possible. We can't do that if you don't want to listen or think about our advice. Stop trying to sell us on an all powerful character that is poorly depicted and get to work on making her feel real. That is all anyone's advice has ever truly been. Your continual attempts at selling us on this isn't endearing anyone to try your novel, let alone to read it. I like it when a book's writing speaks for itself. And from the excerpts I've read, it doesn't. Bhutan responded as he had throughout the entire forum. He quoted a small section and played the
Want to read that part?
yeah
Okay. You haven't read the whole book. You have,
card, see
yeah.
below, and completely dismiss everything said. I love your Norman voice too. Yeah. When the father says, "Oh my god, the fact that there are multiple versions of the book and it's still this fucking bad is just astonishing and embarrassing." Right? Hello, Cameron. I'm glad you made it. The most curious thing about Norman's antics at this forum was his constant comparison between his own Empress Theresa and Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird. One member finally told him, "The difference between Harper Lee and you is that you aren't Harper Lee." Eventually, Bhutan was,
That's actually especially funny because he actually criticized the Kill Mockingbird for being too long when he wrote an overly long book.
why? His book's like twice as long as To Kill a Mockingbird.
I know. He literally said you could take out 100 pages and there'll be no loss of the whole story, and that could be applied to Empress Theresa. Instead of taking out 100 pages, take out all the pages.
Yeah. Oh my god. Get used to hearing that rebuttal, by the way. It's both depressingly common and easily abandoned. Oh god. Eventually, Baton was banned from the forum, most likely for his attitude towards, well, everyone. Baton later backtalked the members of writing forums on Catholic Answers, referring to the site as a so-called writers' forum, and that the members' suggestions were worthless, adding that they did not understand the story. He was shocked that such people would offer their editorial assistance, seemingly forgetting that it was he who asked them to offer their advice. Uh, Hashkafa, I still don't know if I'm saying that right. Uh, Bhutan attempted to advertise Empress Theresa on the Jewish forum Hashkafa. Oh my. He started a thread and said he was
Looking for opinions on whether the Israel's rallies would really evacuate under the circumstances described.
whether the Israelis, oh my god, referring to an event in the book. As he quickly found out, the forum members were not very fond of the
Spoilers.
idea. One of the first responses said, the notion of exchanging our ancestral homeland and 4,000 years of Jewish history for another land is as offensive as swapping wives. Deutschen. Another commenter asked why, if Theresa has limitless power in the physical realm, she didn't just save Israel where it is.
That's a good question.
Yes. As expected, Bhutan's OP question was entirely baited, and he argued and disagreed with everyone who commented on the thread. A published author attempted to give him advice about making his book feel more real, but Bhutan simply made excuses. Finally, someone said, you came here asking for our opinion. If you don't value it, then why did you bother asking? They'll go to have a speech. Okay, maybe that last part I made up.
That could.
Okay, and here's the part I've been looking forward to personally. Amazon.
Amazon. Oh yeah, it's time.
Bhutan began to respond directly to virtually every single negative review written about his book on Amazon. This eventually drew the attention of others who had either spoken with him on other mediums or had seen his antics linked to on other websites. Many defended the critics and attempted to make Norman Bhutan see reason. Both efforts were spurned by Bhutan, who continued to insult, belittle, dismiss, and defend. Bhutan's comments are routinely deleted by Amazon, generally when he has called other commenters names and made personal remarks about them. He has also gone through comment threads and mass deleted past comments of his three different times. Once in April 2014, again on the 6th of November 2014, and finally on 3rd of January 2015. First two mass deletions were done without comment by Bhutan, but were apparently an attempt to erase evidence of his bad behavior so that he could call other commenters liars for describing what he said, in fact, what he had in fact done. The 3rd of January 2015 deletion was occasioned by Bhutan's taking a new commenter seriously, albeit misunderstanding what she said. She gave the advice, given often before by many others, that no author should ever answer negative reviews. Bhutan declared that he would try this approach, removed his answers from the Empress Theresa website, and deleted most of his past comments from Amazon. The attempt at good behavior lasted less than a month. Even after Amazon shut down commenting on one review, Bhutan wasn't done. A year later, after some apparent modification to their commenting system, Amazon allowed additional comments to be added. While most of his critics had gone on to other things, content to let the matter lie, Bhutan went back on the attack. He claimed he caught one of his critics at his website and invited them for a change. Which the individual declined, then renewed his defense of Empress Theresa. When one critic asked why he couldn't leave the discussion and let it go, Bhutan fired back, claiming,
I'm on a mission from God. Okay,
eh,
I'm going to try to
well,
on posh Norman. I
there you have it, folks.
guess. I don't know.
On a mission from God. As inside, I genuinely recommend looking through the Amazon reviews sometime. There are some genuine gems in the higher rated joke reviews. Oh God! All right, this specific part is called the cancer incident, and that fills me with a bit of dread. On 5th of February 2015, Ton gave a terrible revelation concerning his sister and used it against his critics. Take it away, Raptor.
My sister was operated on this morning. She was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer last summer. She's been getting radiation and chemotherapy to prepare for surgery. They took out the tumor today, but her prognosis is very poor. The disease is 5% fatal. It would have been nice if she lived to see Empress Theresa, the great success it should have been. But thanks to you, internet trolls, that won't be for several more years. You people are scum. You better hope God forgives you. I won't.
Bhutan used his sister's cancer in order to gain sympathy from readers and to paint the critics of his book as heartless villains. Many of his critics called Norman out on this, and he did not bring up her condition again until months later when she passed away. Okay, not gonna lie, that pisses me off. But, wow, I mean, I knew he was arrogant and like a prick, but like using his sister's cancer that way, he is a fucking scumbag.
Don't care about anything anymore. All he cares about is just success
Yeah,
and good
he didn't,
reviews.
he didn't care about
This
his
book.
sister. I can guarantee his sister didn't care about the book either. May she rest in peace. That's fucking horrible. As someone whose mother-in-law passed away of cancer last year, sincerely, fuck Bhutan for using this as a play of sympathy. Yes, and I'm sorry to hear that, Orasco. My sister read my book and it gave her cancer. Oh God, it's one of the most scumbag moves I've ever heard of. Yeah, oh, it's just
Maybe
being
that's what gave her
ignorant.
the cancer.
Okay, logical fallacies. Yeah, let's move on from that grim revelation. In response to his critics, Scumbag employs a number of logical fallacies, especially when pressed into a corner or called out on his illogical reasoning. His tactics do not prove Empress Theresa is a good book, as he assumes. They merely serve to further reveal Bhutan's immaturity. Straw Man. I'm not going to read over the definition, I'm sure we all know. One major example of a straw man is seen on his website, where he cites the supposed religious message he wants this book to convey. He then mentions his critics, claims they oppose this message, and compares them to the devil. However, regardless of the personal religious beliefs of his individual critics, none of them have attacked any specific religious belief. Rather, they have attacked how bad his book is and how badly he behaves towards his critics. Therefore, Bhutan's contention that they're targeting his religious message is just a straw man and one made in order to badmouth his critics. Shifting the goalposts, he tells potential readers to read the sample chapters on his website or on Amazon and decide for yourself. If a reader does this and still dislikes the book, then Bhutan will simply dismiss their argument because they didn't read the whole thing. Oh boy. see. He can be seen doing this on many occasions in his conversations on Amazon. Many of the negative reviews of his book are confirmed purchases, meaning the person actually spent their hard earned cash on the book, but Bhutan will dismiss them if they say they didn't read the whole book, even though he's been telling people for months now to give the book at least a fighting chance with a simple chapter or two. The issue is not that the person didn't read the entire book, but the simple fact that they didn't like the book enough not to finish it. At that point, Bhutan has to change his standards. One stark example of this occurred when Bhutan challenged his critics thus.
Jim, Tom, Jason, and others. You've all become very repetitive and boring. I say something new with each post because I can. You repeat the same hogwash over and over again because you have not an ounce of creativity. You merely twist my story around. Any no talent people can do that. Try creating something and good luck with that. Norman.
Yeah, I'm good to drive. I won't be able to type for a while, but I'll have this playing on Bluetooth. All right, drive safely. Okay. Any no talent people can do that. Try creating something good with that. This caused one of the people he was challenging to respond with a link to his own novella saying, "Whoops, there goes your delusion. Sorry about that." Mike says, repetitive and boring. Pot, kettle. Bhutan then changed the terms he had set from creating something to creating something of which Norman Bhutan would approve.
The thing is that even if Jason's book was shit, it still would have been better than Empress Theresa.
Oh, yeah. And this next one is directed to P. Jason Fleming.
124 page. Now, opening lines of Jason's book here, but Amazon instantly, and I mean instantly, like 1 nanosecond, refused to accept it and advised me to read the guidelines. Look inside and see for yourself how bad this book is, etc., etc. End quote. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the worst junk I've ever seen. This it the kind of people criticizing my book. 5 exclamation point.
And I would like to take this moment to, again, urge you all to make donations to my coffee so we can buy Raptor a better headset. But yeah, I also want to point out that Bhutan said this is the worst junk I've ever seen, as in WORSE, not worst as it should be.
I didn't even notice that the first worst junk I've ever seen. This it the kind of people criticizing my book. 5 exclamation marks.
Repetitive and boring. Bhutan out here projecting shitty Mario drawings I did at 10 years old. Told a better story than Empress Theresa. Their old dog shit is better than Theresa, because at least that came from a good chat, from a good animal. Uh, all right, move on to his ad hominem attacks. Uh, it's also been known to make reference to the works of authors critical of him and attack their work in order to validate his own. For example, when attacking T.L. Knighton on his blog, Bhutan cited Knighton's being a published writer in the Albany Journal by saying his work was put in a dying newspaper out of print and put in on the internet. Put in on? snidely calling it a great accomplishment. He added later, Raptor,
Okay, I'm back now.
oh
That's
yeah,
not the kind of wording a newspaper editor should use, even if it's only an online website in Albany, Georgia, not the politically important Albany, New York, where two or three legislators might glance at your shitty editorials one time before we turn into the New York Times print edition. Couldn't make it in a big state, huh? That explains a lot. I know you now.
I know. Oh, Jesus Christ. Put in on the internet sounds a bit rude. You can't even post proofread his social media posts. Put in on the internet, which would then be permanent. It's an Albany expression. Okay. Uh, let's see. All right, let's go to you haven't read the whole book card. One of Bhutan's most used responses against critics who couldn't finish Empress Theresa is to tell them that since they haven't read the whole book, their opinion doesn't matter. He claims that they can't judge characters' plot, how good a story is, etc., because they haven't seen the full scope of what happens. Is this a valid argument? Not at all, and for a few reasons. Norman often tells people to read the sample chapters on his website or on Amazon, tells them to judge for themselves. On writing forums, he'll post samples and ask people for their opinion. If people follow his request and still don't like what they read, he'll use the "you haven't read the whole book" card. As previously stated, this is shifting the goalposts. Many times, the critics who say they couldn't finish the book say it's because it was boring, went on too long, or was just poorly written. Oh, oh, relatable. When Bhutan opines that they didn't see what happens at the end, he seems to have completely missed the point. They don't want to get to the end because his book is so badly written. If a movie has the best climax ever, but has 2 hours of needless and poorly done filler before then, no one is going to stay for the climax. Likewise, if a book is badly written, no one is going to continue reading it. Bhutan seems to forget that in order for a book to be published, it has to be submitted to an editor, and this editor has to decide whether or not to publish the book from a sample. That's why authors and editors stress how important it is to present a good opening for your book. If a sample chapters fail to catch an editor's interest, this book is going to be rejected, regardless of what might happen later. If you're in your first few chapters, let alone 100 pages, impel a writer to continue, the issue is not on the reader, but the author. We talk good. The last part is especially important. John does not seem to comprehend that book samples are supposed to make a person want to read the book. What a wild concept. Book is well written, well done. A person is going to keep reading. Um, Norman, however, does not understand this. Makes much. Yeah, if you don't read the whole book, you can't comment. This makes about as much sense as someone at a restaurant finding the first few bites of their food tasting terrible and yet not being allowed to say the food is nasty unless they finish their entire serving. Yeah, it's a pretty good comparison. You haven't read the whole book. Yes, because it's shit. Or the worst criticism of a book is that one didn't want to finish it. No, yeah, I agree. With 2 hours of filler but a great climax, sounds like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. No greater example of this came about then in one exchange between Bhutan and a high school English teacher. The department chair received a letter from Bhutan along with a sample. Oh my god. Okay, this is David J. Ziegler. I'm actually a high school English teacher at Liberty High School. I won't actually say where it is. My department chair received Norman's letter and has passed it along to me. Sum total of our conversation regarding Norman's suggestion we add to our curriculum. Add it to their curriculum! Oh my god! Could you imagine sitting down in your high school class and your English teacher says, "We're gonna read Empress Theresa."
Future right there.
What a
Sonic
shit
CD
show.
bad future right there.
Okay, Raptor, do you want to be the department chair and I'll continue as David?
Okay. Hey, check this out,
After
Dave.
after
Hang on. Wait, hey, check this out, Dave.
after looking over the letter in one paragraph excerpt, Norman enclosed. Seriously? This is a joke, right?
Nope. Look it up on Amazon, Dave. It's insane.
Dude, I can't. I can't even believe this. I also showed the excerpt to a few of my students, the target audience of the novel, and received the following comments. Is this about a baseball game? Right.
Wait, this was written by an adult?
I have no idea what's going on here. So Bhutan's letters, and by extension, I suppose Empress Theresa, are certainly generating some conversation. It's just not the conversation I think Norman was looking for. Now,
One
Bhutan
time.
responds,
Quote, they bought me chair. Hey, Dave, check this out. Okay, blah, 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 blah. I'm not gonna
yeah,
read the whole thing. So, they didn't look at my website or read the book. Not surprised at that result.
they did look my website. Oh, God.
And, like,
Oh, and I see, Mike, that you were going for Hal there. Bagel says this is what 1984 warned us about. To be honest, reading Empress Theresa would almost be better than reading some mind-numbing, boring poetry in lit class, emphasis on almost. Yeah, I agree. Almost. Look it up on Amazon, Dave. See, that would have been true torture in 2001.
we didn't
Uh,
Empress Theresa.
okay, so Ziegler responded, "You should be. You selected the single paragraph excerpt that was sent out with the letter. If you didn't think that was an adequate representation of your work, why did you make that particular choice? Actually, I read the first several chapters from your website. I didn't see anything there that made me reconsider my position. Certainly nothing that made me think this would be a viable addition to our curriculum." Mike says, "Why they don't look at my website? Mamma mia!" Oh yeah, and it points out to note that Bhutan once again shift the goalposts as well as uh, uh, pulling the "you haven't read the whole book" card. Appeal to emotion. Um, okay, yeah, it brings up his comment about his sister's cancer again. Oh yeah, let's go over the problems with that, as it says. Premise one: Empress Theresa is destined to become a huge success. Premise two: Bhutan's sister will enjoy premise one coming true, and premise three: negative reviews delay the success of one's work. uh, oh, so much wrong with that. So yeah, about it being destined to become a huge success. Considering the extensive negative opinions about the work, poorly so boring that many people did not even finish it, it's impossible for ET to become a famous novel. Unless it undergoes extensive editing, which Bhutan will not allow, it will be universally rejected for publication. Premise number two, assuming that her psyche is not as deranged as Bhutan's, this is false. His sister is of similar age to Bhutan, uh, a demographic that does not generally enjoy poorly written science fiction. And with negative reviews, reviews are necessary for good and bad because even the most excellent novel will not jump into fame until critics read it. Jump into fame. If Tom were more mature, he might understand that that taking into account constructive criticism is what facilitates a novel to become popular. Many works of fiction start out as concepts that are utterly different from what they are known for today. Exactly. And as and has a hidden premise. My work does not deserve to be criticized if I am suffering. Yeah, fuck off. From these premises, Bhutan concludes critics are despicable or despisable. God, my reading is just so far. All right. One second, gang. The champ is here.
King.
Champ has left.
Oh, King, come back.
So let's give him a minute. Oh, there we go.
All right, what I miss?
Hello, Co. We are going over Norman Bhutan, the author of Empress Theresa's responses to criticism.
Wonderful. Could you link me immediately?
Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Well, I went to work, so
Yeah.
and my personal trainer cancelled our session tonight, so I was a little grumpy about that.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Trying to get those gains, and then to be denied gains, it's
Sin.
it's a thing that makes a person feel very very angry. So
Yes.
pretty stressed out. I had to do some lunges when I got home to try and calm myself down.
That's good.
Like
I'd be
squat thrusts.
Nice.
There we go. Norman Bhutan, Bouffant. Who is blowing directly into the microphone?
That's probably me. I have it like far away from my nose as I can, but I can't figure out how to like turn down the sensitivity on it or anything.
People. Well, hello. I'll have a quick look in the chat, see how everybody's doing. Good evening, guys. How are we all?
And so far, we've had Bhutan bring up several logical fallacies and even tried to use his sister's cancer as an excuse of why people cannot call his book bad.
Oh, so it's the Onision argument of, well, this character was based on a friend of mine who really died. It's like, okay, but it still sucks, though.
Yeah, actually, his argument was my sister wants to live to see this book become like a stellar hit, and you're delaying that. You're using up all of her time by posting negative reviews.
That's just shitty.
Yeah.
That's just really shitty. Right. So, guys, don't wait on my account. Continue reading.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna send you the next link because it seems that that was the end of that page. Like the rest is just how do I not become another Norman Bhutan, just be a decent human being. And then it's just a shit ton of comments from people. We're going to move on uh, to Norman Bhutan and his ego.
I like the meme. Are you screen sharing with the chat?
No.
Oh, okay. You probably should because this is the picture for this wikis for this article is fantastic. The Empress Theresa and Narcissus.
Yes, I will do that. Just,
So I'm a little bit I'm I'm sort of the virgin of the group here because I know very little about this author and I know even less about his book. I think Empress Theresa I've witnessed probably about a grand total of an hour of content about Empress Theresa. So I'm fairly
honestly, you know we know very little more than you do. It's just a lot of
it's
this.
like a voyage of discovery then.
Yeah, it's just a lot of the same stuff repeated. Like I said, there was an entire chapter of him just slagging off France like a child. Um,
You mean like a king?
no, seriously, like it's like, okay, the Notre Dame Cathedral, it's a big building, woohoo.
If that ain't me. Sorry, you're from France. Cringe.
And then the next chapter was about like Theresa trying to unlock this alien inside of her, like the superpowers she assumes it will give her by dropping coins into like a soda can.
Yeah.
And this is supposed to help her bring wind back to the world, which I guess her aliens stopped in the first place. It's still not clear whether it was her fault or not.
I'm gonna keep it real with you right now. I haven't got a fucking clue what you're talking about.
Um, long story short, the president of the United States found out she had an alien. Had her flown up into the upper atmosphere in a plane that had a nuke attached to it. The nuke went off. The alien saved her, but apparently saved her by stopping the wind. And now the world has no wind, and she's trying to fix that by trying to develop superpowers.
Waste the government's money.
Oh, and by being best friends instantly with the British Prime Minister. So,
Sorry, someone just sent me a video. So
oh. What is this video?
so I'll just post it in the. It's on Twitter, annoyingly.
Uh, on any day now, Twitter.
The disappointment in Cobe's silence is fucking fucking palatable. Yeah, to be honest, I have little idea of what's happening. Presently, just waiting for some reading to happen. But I've just sent this. I got sent this video, and I thought Bean Daddy Mandela would appreciate it.
Yeah, Twitter would stop being a jackass and upload the video.
Your French name every baguette. My cheese, she stinks. Oh no, it is me. What's that from? Who knows? Who knows what that quote is, where that quote comes from? Who knows its origin? If you'll win this limited edition signed comb, signed by John Wayne Gacy. It's a comb. It's got no evidence on it. It's been kept in that blue stuff they have at hairdressers.
The more you say it, it just sounds like it's a regular comb.
Well, it's signed though, so
Oh.
it's limited edition.
I personally do not know the reference, so.
Simpsons. That's for sure.
Yes, it's from The Simpsons. Very good.
My computer's just not having this.
Don't mind me. I'm just shit posting in Discord at the moment.
It's all good. Let me just go on my phone. Oh, LeBron James, pussy.
It's just calm down, woman.
Yeah, what's your name? I can't hear you. Yeah, that's what I thought. That. All right, but yeah, now we can continue reading. So Bhutan and his ego. Let's see. Yeah, narcissism, affection, self-importance, illusions of grandeur, omniscience. All right, so yeah, so narcissism, according to the DSM-5, traits of someone with narcissistic personality disorder include Rudy's father. Egocentrism, goal setting based on personal gratification, lack of concern for feelings, needs, suffering of others. Okay, as the page regarding Norman's handling of criticism plainly shows. Bhutan believes that he is above any and all criticism and correction. He openly called Empress Theresa the greatest novel ever written. Uh, and he has asked, can any novel measure up to the likes of Empress Theresa? He even said to one critic, now acknowledge that you couldn't write a book as original, complex, meaningful, and inspiring as Empress Theresa if you spent the rest of your life on it.
This is amazing. This guy's like a worse Christian.
Right.
Like, because you're reading this with way too much bravado. So you're like, now acknowledge that you couldn't write a book as original. No, you don't read it like the guy who does the Class of Nukem High trailer, right? Empress Theresa from Troma. Like, that's not how this guy speaks. This guy's gonna be surely. I mean, he looks ancient. Like he probably has respiratory issues. So I imagine him just sort of being like, now acknowledge that you couldn't write a book as original, complex, meaningful, and inspiring as Empress Theresa if you spent the rest of your life on it.
Very true.
That is my impression of Rogue Internet Man's impression of Christian. It's a very, very niche voice.
I have not heard that one before. Wait, what the hell was that?
Rogue Internet Man's pretty funny.
Did I just hear a female on this call?
Unlikely.
Okay. In that case, I will say to everyone, look up Rogue Internet Man, then. Sorry for that little scare.
We do have to face the facts, gentlemen, that there are women, and that's just something we have to live with until they can invent sunglasses that make women appear invisible, so that you can ignore them. They've got down to an X-ray glasses now where you can just see the woman's skeleton. But eventually, I think that they were. I'm certain that this is. I pay my taxes, so I can't imagine what else they're spending my tax money on. Glasses that make it so that you can't see women.
That would be fantastic.
Okay, so what's happening here is the Lincoln Life of Brian. Are there any women here today? And I'm just going to start speaking in a deep.
So who the fuck invited you? You sit there and you quietly play your dated on release RPG game from Bethesda.
I heard no response. That's what I expect.
My apologies, Kings.
All's forgiven.
For allowing a female to speak on this stream, I will flagellate myself for 9 straight hours after the stream.
As you will. Many professional authors find it hard to read their finished works because in their mind there's still much change. In Bhutan's mind, however, he has surpassed any need for changes. In one instance, when a critic was reviewing the dialogue in one scene from the book, Bhutan replied, I'm sorry, Raptor, I'll let you go back to reading his lines.
Okay. I wrote that scene exactly as it should have been written, as always.
Another critic said to him, would you like to read this?
You think you know it all. No matter what you believe, you know everything, and everyone else is wrong.
Norman replied,
All of which is true. What is your point?
Well, there you have it.
It's still not right for me. I think I'm still hearing that. All of which is true. What's your point? Like that's still the voice I'm hearing in my head when I read Norm. Who the fuck is called Norman?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, what a terrible name.
This guy was in his late 60s when he first posted this story on Wattpad.
Also, who the fuck is like Norman is an enigma to me. Like, one thing, who's called Norman like at all? That's like a cartoon character's name. right? To me, that's like being called bugs. You know, it's weird. Second of all, who the fuck is in their 60s and knows what Wattpad is?
Well, he likes to try and connect with the younger generation. By which I mean he posted it to a writing group of teenagers.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
Wonderful.
And he regularly sexualizes the character of Theresa.
Oh, he's a nonce as well. Why are they always nonces?
Well, possibly we've discussed that and think that he more is sort of projecting himself as Theresa.
Oh, that's... Well, I mean, not worse, but certainly weirder.
Yeah. Yeah, he actually had an argument with a girl who was 17 and a figure skater over like whether or not a figure skater would sexualize herself to
Great.
to attract a boy who she was not interested in.
I mean, that's a very specific situation.
Well, that's what happened in the book. And he said
And I
that,
feel like it would also depend on the figure skater.
yeah, he said that any 17-year-old Catholic figure skating girl would react the way Theresa
I mean, that's unlikely, isn't it? That's...
did.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very specific demographic, 17-year-old Catholic figure skaters. I feel like they're... I don't know how many of them I've met personally, but even so, I still feel like they're not a hive mind.
I agree.
Anyway, you continue to read. I'm going to seek Pepsi.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to skip ahead here to Delusions of Grandeur because he has likewise claimed that there would be an Oscar-winning Empress Theresa movie. Um, well, there will be because we're going to make it. We're going to get all of the rights to it, and he won't get any of the money. And I can't wait for the day that I get to play Jan Struthers on the big screen. Okay, so we have the subject of omniscience here. A common criticism against Empress Theresa and Bhutan's rants is that he covers uh, a wide array of topics, religion, politics, government agencies, etc., and yet exhibits very little working knowledge of how they operate or how they would work in a certain situation. A variety of situations are full of plot holes when compared to how such situations would actually operate in real life, e.g., guards permitting Theresa to lug a bag of Coke bottles around up to her execution. With the solutions given for certain dilemmas, uh, the solutions given for certain dilemmas make absolutely no sense, e.g., all of Israel leaving their homeland. Whenever questions of definitions or technicalities come up, Bhutan would almost.
Sorry, I disappeared for a moment. What was that I just heard about Israel?
Oh, apparently, we haven't reached this point yet, but apparently, at one point in the book, Israel is doomed to destruction,
Oh, thank
and
God.
Theresa, who is supposed to be all powerful, can literally do anything she wants, claims that the only solution is for everyone in Israel to leave their homeland.
Well, what I would have done in her situation, if I was omnipotent, is just not save Israel.
You mean complete what started in Poland some 70 years ago?
No, no, that's not what I meant.
I don't know. Kind of sounded like that's what you were saying.
How many 17-year-old Catholic figure skaters can there be? Like 2. Yes, it's possible that they both think exactly alike, to be fair.
Yeah, the one line you might have missed, that and this actually happened in the story. Guards permitting Theresa to lug a bag of Coke bottles around up to her execution.
That's peculiar.
Yeah. I'm still not sure what purpose that served, but it went on about it for half a chapter. All of this is especially interesting, given that Norman admitted in an interview that he did barely any research in writing the book.
I didn't have to do research. It was all in my head. Of course, I looked up a few facts like the amount of gold in Fort Knox, the tectonic structure of Antarctica, and the density of xenon. But 99.9% of the story came out of my memory.
I mean, this is just like, this is not a book, is it? I mean, this is the scribblings of a mongoloid.
Yes, it is. Like, for example, when Theresa, at 10 years old, figures out that she has government agents constantly following her, she tells her priest about it. Her priest's reaction is to go outside and confront these agents. How do these agents respond to this? How would you think they would respond?
Probably poorly.
Oh, no. The head agent gets out of her car in their hiding spot, as it were, and just goes up to her and says, "Oh, yes, I'm the lead agent of this investigation. You have to understand why we're doing this."
Honestly, trust a woman with any power. That's inevitable. This next chapter of the the next subsection of the wiki article is perfect. It's titled Omnipotence. Great.
Slaves.
Anything to break the silence.
What's that?
Oh, I think maybe I went quiet or something. I said, do you want to carry on? Because I sort of took over your stream for a moment there.
And the stream got disconnected.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the last thing I think the last thing I heard any response to was the stupid Star Wars joke. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. From there, I just apologize for taking over.
Okay, I think we're back.
If you wanna carry on reading.
First, people in the chat tell us if you can hear us again, or if we never left. I don't know. Okay, on Catholic Answers Forum, Tom mentioned a university curriculum coordinator who supposedly liked the book and declared to 3 critics, "Your days are numbered." Your days. He said to one of the critics in a follow-up post, "Next fall, the next school year, all the trash you've written here on TV tropes and on Amazon will be exposed for the trash it is. You credibility will go down the toilet."
Amazing. Yeah, isn't it wonderful when you see people just
right now.
People just hang themselves with their own stupidity like that.
Yep. Oh, God. This was written in April 2014. Needless to say, nothing happened. The story of the curriculum coordinator has since been called into question, and nobody's reputation has been harmed, save for Bhutan's. In an Amazon comment, Bhutan declared that he had a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious idea, that when his idea was implemented, it would be a sad day for internet trolls. He then quoted the Shawshank Redemption with, "His judgment cometh, and that right soon." This turned out to be nothing more than an author's review posted on his website, which constituted little more than a rehash of things he had said on Amazon and elsewhere. Despite the fact most people just laughed at this, Bhutan declared that his review had made this Amazon page the house of pain for the internet trolls.
What is wrong with this guy?
I think he might be senile.
Yeah, basically. Is that why, again, the little bit I've heard every time I tune into your Empress Theresa stream, it feels like it's either at the climax of the story or it's wrapping up from the climactic events. Did he just keep writing endings because he'd forgotten that he'd already done it?
Yeah, pretty much. Either that or it's like you said to me the other day, it seems like it's building to a climax that never happens. Like, that's just all it is, constantly.
Yeah, it's like sex with Toby.
Okay, I mean, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. I'm not... I don't actually speak from experience. I've never slept with him. Who has?
Well, I mean, he has a daughter.
A daughter or, a rock that he's drawn a face on. Stuck like pipe cleaners on for hair. I'm just asking questions. I'm not saying that's true, I'm just asking the questions nobody else will.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's not completely unfair.
I think it is. I think it entirely is.
Like you've seen this picture that Raptor shared with us.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah.
I just imagine like if you zoomed out from that, he's wearing that shirt, that jacket, with like some tidy whities, knee-high socks, and a pair of UGG boots, just standing there in his front yard taking that picture.
I imagine that on the other side of that neighborhood we can't see, it's just cryptids. Just like nightmare creatures as far as the eye can see.
It's like, yeah, these are my neighbors. There's Mothman, he's real nice. He just keeps looking at me with his glowing eyes and says, soon. I don't know what that means.
Captain, we're heading straight for that lighthouse. The captain of the ship, who is a moth.
Okay, inability.
Toby Boy's daughter on the dark web at 3 a.m.
God, no.
I don't know how it's happened, but at work, we're on like a building site, and me and this other guy here, we just talk to each other in like YouTube cliches. But we like scream in that like Toad voice sometimes that I've done for you before. Where I'm like, bacon and scallops. We just do that in a state of constant terror. It's like, I'm worried that if I don't enable notifications that Freddy Fazbear is going to show up at 3 a.m. in my house.
Okay.
And I'll be like, doing some painting or something. It's like, oh, can you pass me that palette? And it's just like, yes. First things first, though. Have you heard about Raid Shadow Legends?
Okay, the inability to understand other people. I mean, you just said that his neighbors are probably all cryptids, so that's all I can imagine now. Bhutan also appears to show a lack of understanding about humans. For example, he seems to believe that a person's occupation is the sum total of that person's identity and value. This is first apparent in his contrast of university curriculum coordinator and janitor woman, where he matter-of-factly notes that these are two women with very diverse backgrounds, while actually providing nothing regarding that background. I mean, they're women. I don't believe either of them have a diverse background.
Yeah. or had anything of value to offer.
A short time later, while defending the idea of a low-income individual being a reader. Oh my god. Bouton recounts a story of a human resources worker having difficulty with big words as proof that even intelligent people could have difficulty with large words. Okay. These assertions were then followed by comments following a critic mentioning that Theresa was not an easy character to relate to. Norman responded by saying,
Theresa is not a prima donna ballerina, real estate mogul, billionaire's daughter, Secretary of State, Olympic gold medalist, or any of those walks of life that litter romance novels in order to give the book glamour. Theresa has no job at all. She's a student. People can relate to that.
yeah, I love that it says not a billionaire's daughter, yet when everyone learns that she has superpowers and literally everyone in the world automatically loves her, they send her like letters and cards with money in it. And within the first half hour of counting the money, her husband is like, "We already have $2 million."
Relatable. Thinking
Like,
that picture of any of that DJ Khaled picture, it's like suffering from success.
yes. And Mike says everyone can read, even the colors. Bouton probably. Again, Bouton points to a person's occupation, Theresa being a student, as the sum total of an individual, as if all students can and should be able to relate to one another. These combine to give a picture of Bouton as someone who doesn't understand humanity in any meaningful way. I mean, by giving characters different jobs, he appears to believe that he's creating new and unique characters, while readers who recognize the various differences individuals can bring to the exact same role in society see the characters as two-dimensional. Unfortunately, it's essential that a writer understand people. They must understand their motivations, their reactions, when they act rationally and when they act irrationally in order to create. Uh, Tom was challenged on this and asked a direct question as to whether he sees people solely as their occupations. After repeatedly dodging the question, the critic said that failure to answer would be taken as an affirmative. Bouton followed up with an accusation that the critic was trying to deflect away from an argument he won.
I am bleeding, making me the victor.
Exactly. Pride.
Yeah. Where have we come across somebody like this before? I don't know.
Bouton is extremely prideful. No, really? I want to see now if Bouton opened his mouth if he has baby teeth too.
I was going to say, yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm not talking about anyone in particular. But Bouton strikes me as the type of guy that would challenge someone to a boxing match, and then when they asked for time to train, he would wimp out while calling them a pussy. I don't know. It's a very specific example. I don't know where it is. It's the unit. It just floated into my brain from the universe.
Fair.
But
Fair.
he seems like the type that would do it. Like some sort of weak, limp-wristed cunt. But I'm not talking about anyone in particular. I'm just saying this Bouton guy feels like he might do something like that.
I agree.
He's a very talented author, you know.
1 second.
All right. Bean Daddy Mandela's left the stream. Everybody post racist shit in the chat.
Wait, I'm back now. Why wouldn't you
Everybody just write Alex is a stupid.
I'm back. Hello?
I just accidentally read this page, the tab, as Norman Boutin and his egg.
Go.
Okay, and Cope, why would you encourage people to say racist stuff when I'm gone? I encourage that just when I'm here.
Hey, I've got a pretty dark sense of humor. Racism. The punchline is racism.
What other punchline does there need to be?
True.
All right, and now I'm gonna give you the link for this next part. Bhutan and conspiracy theories.
Oh, great. That sounds fucking promising.
Bhutan and his egg.
Just a moment where I sort of look at the tabs on the top of the screen.
Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?
Can someone draw that? I can't draw. Can someone draw Norman just with an egg, just looking intently at it,
Go for it, people.
just holding it? Maybe like you know, when Schmeagol first finds the ring and he's just kind of playing with it. Just Norman Boutin with a hard-boiled egg.
My precious. All right. So first we got Bhutan on brainwashing. Bhutan believes that some people have been brainwashed by the naysayers. He told one girl on Catholic Answers forum, in regards to one of his critics, "You're young and you're being fooled by the rantings of uh, RP RPR Psych. He's playing mind games with all of us." He likewise warned her, "Don't let him get in your head."
If you find yourself being able to be manipulated by someone called RPR Psych, you deserve to be brainwashed. Honestly.
Yes. Oh, and the one he was saying that to, that was the 17-year-old.
Brilliant.
Jealous trolls, of course. Since Empress Theresa is the greatest book ever written, Bhutan believes that some of his critics are jealous of his talents and are simply attempting to troll him. For example, he took shots at people he had met on a writer's forum. "Who are these people? They're from various writers' forums I joined over the years. When I announced the paperback edition, suddenly there they were, waiting to trash it. From my experience on those writers' forums, which contain thousands of members, I know that some of these people, those incapable of writing anything more serious than a vampire story, zombie story, or something of that kind, can be very negative in trashing a work that looks promising. It's envy. There's no limit to what they will do to spoil things." I mean, okay, yeah, vampire stories, zombie stories. Yeah, none of those can match up to like a half-assed superhero story that you're trying to write. Yeah, same people are jealous. The anti-Norman Brotherhood. Bhutan sincerely believes that there is a giant clandestine conspiracy to destroy him and his book. Oh my god. Part of this conspiracy are atheists. You stated these atheists from Catholic.com, or whoever they are, won't stop the truth about the book from getting out. He likewise stated the atheists must really fear and hate this book.
I don't know if fear is the word.
I mean, hate, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, something can be disturbing without being scary.
Oh yeah, he thinks
Get
that.
an
Sorry, what was that?
A and P in the chat. A and B in the chat. Where's my fellow brothers? Let me get an A and B in the chat. All my fellow members of the anti-known brotherhood. All my brothers.
He also believes that Amazon is part of the conspiracy because they delete his responses to critics with name calling and personal attacks. The troll website network. An even more bizarre twist in which he's finally managed to apparently have gone full flat earth. The elderly gentleman has come to believe that there is a grand cabal of trolls and that they command a massive troll website network to be wielded against him. Okay, I mean, right there, that's full Chris Chan.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, at the moment it came to this thing of like, he believes he has the power to like strike his enemies down. It had already gone full Chris Chan by then.
Oh my god. I mean, you know, what else do we really have to say about this guy? Other than he's a raving lunatic.
Yeah, next time can we read something normal like Sonichu?
Well, what we're going to read next is actually
Or, Lightbringer.
yes. We're actually going to read a Reddit story that Lyrasco requested, and I'm going to share with you guys the link for it right now.
Were you there when I watched Linkara crying about Only Play's impression of him?
No.
Oh my god.
This oh my god, this is gonna be a silly story.
Kirby, you ever going to finish Sonichu? I mean, stranger things have happened.
The question is, do you want to finish it?
I do, but I also want Chris to finish it.
Did he start that back in like 2005?
Yeah, it's been going on for donkey's years. It was one of the things that pisses me off and why it's very hard for me to be sympathetic towards Christine is she made a Patreon and got quite a lot of donations and then couldn't be bothered to finish the comic. Wrote a whole bunch of pages and then stopped. And I was like, well, people are paying you their own money so you can write comics. You are literally somehow, in spite of all your disadvantages, for this very, very brief window here before you fucked it up, you were living the dream. Like basically, you were getting paid to make your stupid comic. Yep. Why in God's name would you just give up halfway through? And then everyone naturally stopped pledging on Patreon and went, well, she's not going to finish the comic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, she would fit right in at Marvel. No, seriously, I can't remember the guy's name. He did a Patreon like 6 or 7 years ago for a comic that he was going to make himself with his resources at Marvel. He kept like making excuses, like, "Oh yeah, I've got the money saved away, blah blah blah." I've been hitting snags in my personal life, but it's coming. Well, one of the guys that I watch on YouTube went to a convention where this guy was setting up a table, and just walked up to him, started talking to him, like was holding his phone right up, like let him know that he was recording, and he straight up asked him, like where's the comic? Or do you still have the money? And he's like, comic, I can't really say when that's going to be finished, but no, I spent the money a long time ago. And he put this out on Twitter, and the guy just blocked everyone who was arguing with him about it.
I was just looking. I've never actually read Asperchu. I was looking at one of the panels here, and it's just this like over the top pimp. Just these like the first fucking page is just one fine morning on the Pickles family cucumber farm. It's just these exaggerated black stereotypes. But yes.
Okay, maybe we need to have a stream where we all read Asper too.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
And everyone, I'm going to plug again. That would be easier if you donate to my coffee, so we can buy Raptor a much better headset, so he's not always cutting in and out.
yeah, that's a good shout. And maybe buy Manny a better PC so he can maintain his connection to the streams.
Hurts, but it's true.
Wolfbeard.
Yes. So yes, Wolfbeard, Enter the Saga. I will confess that when Laraska sent this to me, I had the intention of just skimming the first couple of paragraphs. I ended up reading the whole thing, and goddamn, the people in this story, like the character of Wolfbeard. Well, this is apparently a real person. He is the biggest piece of shit here, but I don't think very highly of the person telling the story either, even though they're the victim.
A Wolfbeard sounds weirdly familiar. I'm just trying to think, where do I know that from? Like, have I come across this story before?
Cameron, I do not have a Patreon, but I do have a coffee page. The link for it is in the description of the stream right now.
Here's many quick dollars, yeah.
Have you parts? Oh yeah. See, to do that, that'll be like a $10 donation.
Yeah.
Come onto the stream.
If you want to come onto my stream, which is larger, you have to donate $1 million.
Okay, let's get Rudy really high.
Yeah.
We got them to do 100. Maybe $1 million isn't out of the question.
I feel like we have to go up, like, in increments, though. I feel like going straight to $1 million. Also, we'll go to 500 next.
Yeah.
Oh, you want me to play Sonic 06? Oh, that's gonna be $500, Rudy.
Yeah, Rudy Jazz, $500.
What's that? You want me to play Right to Hell Retribution? That's gonna be $1,000.
Just every time, do it, coward.
That is a person with more money than sense.
I mean, you said it. Okay. So let's get started with this tale of dread and cringe. Hey there, I'm new to Reddit, blah blah blah. I'm sorry, what was that? Did I just hear a curse from a feminine voice?
No, it couldn't be.
Oh.
I'm gonna stop reading Aspechu. No.
Okay, here we
got it open. There's just fucking dropping N-bombs and shit in here. This is insane. I don't know if we could stream this.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just like the third page. There's like a character just daydreaming about fucking one of his classmates from behind.
What?
saying the N-word as he does it.
Okay, yeah, I don't think that's going to be a stream.
No. But I'll just bookmark that for my own personal use. So.
Oh, God.
Yeah, what I'm getting at, folks, is that racism is my porn. I bet I can't orgasm unless there's a hate crime involved.
All right, I have to do it.
I'll be honest with you guys, it's not a hate crime. I love doing it. Why would I want to embarrass myself in front of Cobe's audience versus in front of the Bean Boys? I mean, you've got me there. If you're Nelson Mandela, does that make your audience the Bean Fiends?
Sure.
I narcissistically put on one of my old creepypasta videos, and it was the Nelson Mandela one. And the bean fiends thing just really tickled me. I'd forgotten about it. Just the bean fiends. And I was like, yeah. Well, Les Sage turned out west. So trying to buy a tin of beans at a bank. He's mental. Is what's happened.
Okay, so here we go. Several years ago, I lived through a series of horrifying and hilarious events with a beard in the wild. At the time, everything I was put through was rather overwhelming and even scary at times, but now I can look back on it and laugh. I hope you get a chuckle out of it too. Without further ado, I give you the first tale of Wolfbeard.
Oh no.
I call him as such because of his unhealthy obsession with wolves. He was one of those guys that collected just about anything with artwork of wolves on it. Shirts, blankets, tapestries, you name it. His obsession went beyond this even. Let's not get ahead of ourselves in this point of the story just yet. I met Wolfbeard in my freshman year of
I want to
university.
die.
Oh, trust me, you don't want to die yet. That's not. At the time, he was engaged to my now ex-childhood friend. My friends and I have taken to calling her Miss Piggy these days, so we'll use that name for this story. Miss Piggy was your classic leg beard, morbidly obese, lacking proper social boundaries, and extreme weeaboo extraordinaire. And in case anyone doesn't know what leg beard means, I had to look that up. It's someone who's incredibly overweight and ugly, but finds someone of the opposite sex to be very attractive in terms of like conventional standards, but believes that if they hold the same conventional attraction standards to them, that they are sexist.
Isn't that just like most women though?
Yeah. Yeah, so Miss Piggy here is literally one of those obese, like, colored haired people on Twitter going, "You just can't handle my curves." What ultimately ended my friendship with Miss Piggy was some downright vile and crazy stuff she did to a mutual friend of ours. And when I found out, I finally had enough and cut ties with her. But really, that warrants a story of its own. Needless to say, while all the shenanigans with Wolfbeard went down, she and I were still friends.
I'm glad all that was included. Yeah, let's say brevity is the soul of wit, right?
Yeah. Despite this, though, we had actually grown a bit distant at this time. When I was much younger, I lived in the same town as Miss Piggy. She wasn't always a full-blown leg beard. Maybe it's the nostalgia glasses kicking in, but in my younger childhood years, I remember her being around the same build as me, slender and a bit on the taller side, and despite still being a little socially awkward, it wasn't in their childhood years. I mean, I knew several kids when I was younger who weren't really awkward. A super sweet girl and funny girl. We had been best friends since kindergarten. However, when time came for us to attend middle school, my family moved away to a new town. It's only about half an hour away, but for a child that was too young to drive, it might as well have been states away. A bit of an exaggeration there. Because of this, we naturally started to drift apart when we saw each other rarely, and our interests in lives changed. However, once finished with primary school and off at university with a licensed car of my own, I decided to change this.
That's a weird way to put that. Like, I don't know where this person's from, but primary school and then university, like, there's a huge fucking gap of years between those.
Yeah.
Like, you finish primary school when you're 11.
Well, you see, I thought that, like, from using those terms, that maybe they were British, but it's made abundantly clear that this all takes place in Washington State.
Be a use of the word that I'm not familiar with, but yeah, certainly over here, if you were to say primary school, you would mean like 4 years old to 10 or 11, depending on when your birthday falls.
Yeah. Yeah, here we would just say elementary school.
Yeah.
Uh, with a vehicle, the 30-minute distance was nothing. So I began reaching out to her in attempts to rekindle our old friendship. And in doing so, I ended up meeting Wolfbeard.
Well,
So, so the story's meant to be bad, right? Yes, it's apparently true, too. Uh, at the time, Miss Piggy and Wolfbeard had been living together in a tiny one-bedroom apartment. Interestingly enough, both their parents had been against the idea of it, as they didn't believe either of them was ready for that kind of responsibility. And they were, of course, correct, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. The apartment was in one of those sketchy complexes you don't really want to get caught in after dark. The place was a dump, and the air was constantly filled with a cacophony of unsupervised children terrorizing the neighborhood, and white trash couples screaming at each other and slamming furniture around. I almost turned around on the spot before making it to Piggy's apartment. I had been the one to make plans to meet up, so I strengthened my resolve and knocked on their scuffed and dented door. Now, we're going to get to dialogue here. So, who wants to be the witch bitch, who is the one telling the story? Who wants to be Miss Piggy, and who wants to be Wolfbeard?
I'm happy. I'm happy to do any characters that you give me. I'll I think I'll be Wolfbeard actually. I like doing the old neckbeard kind of characters.
All right.
All right, where's the dialogue?
I'll be the guy narrating the story.
Okay, you'll be witch bitch, and I'll be Miss Piggy then.
Yeah, I think you can do a better Miss Piggy voice than me.
Uh, I should also mention that she had not told me about Wolfbeard before now, let alone mention that they were living together, so I almost backpedaled on the spot when a tall, greasy-haired man opened the door instead of my friend. Wolfbeard was a big man, and I mean that in every sense of the word. He was very tall, easily around 6'1" or 6'2", as well as morbidly obese. He nearly filled the entire doorframe, blocking the apartment within from view. He had dirty blonde hair, and although he lacked the true neckbeard, he had a very poorly trimmed splotch of scruff right on his chin that made him appear as though Shaggy from Scooby-Doo had really let himself go. He wore an oversized t-shirt with a print of two wolves howling at the moon, and one of those flat golf caps atop his clearly unwashed hair. But what was most off-putting about his imposing figure was his smell. His chapped lips pulled into a smile, revealing plaque-encrusted teeth, and a wave of horrific body odor blasted my face. Vomit-inducing as it was, it didn't even hold a candle to his body odor. In all my time knowing Wolfbeard, I don't think he ever once grasped the concept of deodorant. You could always smell him coming before you'd see him. And with someone his size, that was really saying something.
This is so harsh the way this is written. Like,
Yeah.
considering this is apparently a true story, like writing about people this way. I don't know how it turns out, but I think Miss Piggy and Wolfbeard have got to be pretty fucking horrible for you to retroactive, because like the people I talk this way about are like proper scumbags.
Yeah,
Like,
they end up getting very bad. But like I said, reading things about that the author says about herself, she's not much better. Uh, Before I could scuttle away, Piggy walled up and pushed Wolfbeard out of the way so she could greet me. Oh, sorry about that. I forgot to mention it to you. This is Wolfbeard. He's my fiance! She squealed in delight, forcing a pudgy hand into my face to show off one of those etched rune-looking rings you can find at Spencer's or Hot Topic.
that's so mean.
A little overwhelmed and caught off guard, I congratulated her before entering the apartment. When I got inside, I had to stop myself from almost retching again. You see, Piggy had always been a bit of a hoarder, ever since we were children. Time had certainly not helped this habit. And what's worse, Wolfbeard was a lazy slob who had previously relied on his mother to clean up after him, so his mess just compounded the problem. The whole place smelled vaguely of garbage and cat piss. The living room was made up of a couch, coffee table, and massive television that Wolfbeard had brought with him from his parents' house. Both the couch and coffee table were piled with clothes, garbage, and who knows what else. You could really feel the impact of the clutter, as the unit truly was tiny. In entirety, the unit was laid out in a linear line. Yeah, linear means a line, jackass. One room connected to the next. It consisted of the front living room, then moved into the kitchen and dining space. The kitchen was pretty narrow and seemed even worse than it really was, as the mountain of unwashed dishes, coated in rotting food, took up what little counter space there was. Crammed opposite of this was a table that was functionally useless due to a mountain of crap piled atop. Continuing our glum tour, we have the pièce de résistance, a single bedroom and connected bathroom. Based on the descriptions of the rest of the unit, I'll let you use your imagination as to the state of this tiny, overstuffed room, the smell from which it emanated. Needless to say, the apartment was disgusting. It only added to my general feeling of uneasiness during the visit. From the very beginning, Wolfbeard made me incredibly uncomfortable. Despite supposedly being engaged to Piggy, from the moment I entered the apartment, he was eyeing me like a piece of meat. For this, for this thrilling saga, will refer to myself as Calamity, my usual D&D moniker, appropriate given as this whole experience felt more like a wildly crafted fantasy than reality.
I don't know if I want to call you Calamity. I was thinking of calling you Duck Up Self-Involved Bitch.
Yeah, I think that's very fitting. While I'm by no means some sort of supermodel, I do try to put a bit of effort into my appearance. I'm
Good
rather
for you. Let's throw you a parade.
Yeah. I'm rather busty despite being slender, and I'm quite tall at a little over 5'8". My friends often make Amazon warrior jokes at me. No, they don't.
That's a lie. Nobody gets made fun of with the term Amazon warrior.
But I just threaten to crush their skulls like sparrow egg. Yeah, I don't know if it was supposed to say
Yeah,
a sparrow egg.
perhaps instead of Amazon, they actually mean Neanderthal.
Okay, yeah, here's where I immediately started to really hate this bitch. I also love all things horror and occult. So naturally, I'm into a witchy, alternative style and love to dress in dark makeup and clothes. Oftentimes, this puts off or spooks away potential creeps, which is great. But in Wolfsbeard's case, it made me appear as some sort of tantalizing mystery he desperately wanted to unwrap. He delusionally fancied himself as an old-fashioned, gothic-type gentleman, and the dark milady before him all but begged for a gallant protector such as himself. Anyways, it's anyway, you jackass. After bulldozing some of the crap off the couch, Wolfbeard made a sweeping motion to gesture Peggy and I to take a seat. Upon reluctantly doing so, I was dismayed to find Wolfbeard planting himself on the ground next to me, rather than his fiancée, leaning back on the couch, uncomfortably close to me. Despite the discomfort of his looming presence, eventually my nose went blind to the lingering cloud of stench, and I was actually able to enjoy catching up with Miss Piggy. Despite having become even more awkward and overly invested in anime, she still seemed to be much the same person from all those years ago, and chatting with her was fun. It was odd, though, as every so often Piggy and Wolfbeard would have these strange little exchanges. Wolfbeard would frown and grasp his chest dramatically for a moment, or briefly clutch his head in his hands before shooting a dire look at Miss Piggy. In turn, she'd paste a worried expression on her face and extend a gentle hand as if to reassure him that everything was all right. I didn't know what was going on, and assumed that it was some weird couples thing between them, so I tried my best to ignore it. That is, until right around nightfall. Noticing the sky beginning to darken, Wolfbeard dramatically stood up and waddled to the window. Once again, he dramatically grasped his chest and violently whipped his head away. At this, Peggy shot up from the couch and bounded over to him, clutching onto him like a pose from an old romance novel.
Sorry, I just read ahead. I was like, oh god, this gets weird.
Oh, yes. Confused, I watched the scene unfold before me. Are you going to be all right, my love? Miss Piggy softly cooed, looking over her shoulder out into the night air beyond the window.
It's a full moon tonight.
Wolfbeard hoarsely croaked in response, dramatically turning away from her. You can control it. I know you can. Piggy warbled, clutching him tighter still.
I should go, just to be safe.
Wolfbeard whispered as he strode through the apartment in an almost slow motion fashion. I imagine he thought he looked really epic or something, but in reality, he just looked like some kind of wounded animal hauling itself back to its den to die. Upon reaching the door, he paused in the frame, looked at me sadly, then with a sigh, closed the door behind him. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, what the hell's going on? That's when Piggy comes up to me with a entirely serious look on her face. Calamity, I need to tell you a secret. You promised not to tell anyone? Wolfbeard's entire life could be endangered if you spread this around, so please take it seriously.
I'm just imagining her face, like, just before she goes and writes on some Reddit, like, I promise I will tell no one.
I paused, not sure what other horrors could possibly be awaiting me that evening. But the curiosity got the better of me, so I hesitantly agreed.
No, no, no. What?
Beard, it's a lichen.
That's not what that means. Oh.
Raptor, what do you think? Maddie, I was hoping no Theresa Thursday would mean I wouldn't have to day drink. Why do you do this to me?
The worst part is this is probably true.
Yes.
I feel like these events really took place. And somebody
Makes the story so much more funnier.
referred to someone as a lichen. Even somebody with lycanthropy. No, just he is a lichen.
I have a feeling this guy watched Underworld a few too many times.
Watching Underworld once is a few too many times.
True. Is this Twilight fanfiction?
Mate, honestly, fucking Underworld is literally like somebody watched Resident Evil and went, "Well, that bar's entirely too high. We'll never hit those dizzying heights. How do we make something like this but significantly worse?"
Vampire, werewolf, Romeo and Juliet. That's how.
God, those movies are terrible.
And I mentioned this to Gemma on a stream before, but like whenever it says in a story like someone scoffs, I just imagine like Bill Nighy in Underworld. Like he does this weird thing, like he goes like, like when he's happy to see who was the actress in that anyway.
Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah, makes like some weird like croaking sound with his voice.
Kate Beckinsale, or she's otherwise known, the girl from the Underworld movie.
Okay.
Wait, so am I imagining this? Or do those movies have music by Evanescence?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Because that might just be like my brain confusing those movies with Evanescence music videos.
It could be. Okay. I sat positively bamboozled, blinking furiously as my brain tried to process the sheer stupidity that this grown-ass woman had just thrown my way. Mistaking this for me not understanding, she continued. I like it. It's what most people would call a werewolf. Raptor, this is you.
You're telling me that Wolfbeard is a fucking cat? Maybe a werewolf?
I repeated slowly in one last-ditch
You
effort.
cook at a pizza.
I wasn't misunderstanding. Some sort of joke or prank they were pulling on me. Yes, Piggy whispered, no hint of humor on her face. Usually he can restrain himself pretty well, but tonight is a full moon, so he's afraid he could lose control since he has to transform. Transformers roll out. It took every ounce of self restraint in my body not to burst out laughing on the spot. I couldn't tell at the time, and still don't know to this day if it was just some weird socially awkward game the two of them played together, or if she genuinely believed him. But either way, what ensued was positively wild.
So, what I struggle to believe here is that a person so mean and judgmental as this writer didn't burst out laughing then. I say it took all my self control. Like, the way you say things like, oh, she shoved a pudgy hand in my face and showed me this ring she got from Hot Topic. It's like, English is a second language to you. Like, bitch is your first language. And you're telling me you didn't just, like, corpse immediately when she said lichen.
Yeah, that's one of the things that made me question it.
I would have needed emergency surgery after my sides fucking ruptured.
My boyfriend's like,
Yeah, I would have died laughing. Like, genuinely, they would have found me. You know, like in Ring when they find the bodies? It's like this huge, like, gaping grin on my face. It's like all contorted.
your body just like twisted in every imaginable.
Yeah.
Piggy proceeded to tell me the tale of how she had learned Wolfbeard's oh so dark secret back in high school, and how they had fallen in love because she had learned to tame the beast in his heart. Mind you, all the while of this going on, that's not a sentence. Wolfbeard had started making these ridiculous growling noises and knocking things about in the closed-off bedroom. After a few minutes of this, I could hear the sound of a window sliding and a resounding thud. At this, Piggy really let me back alongside her to investigate. I should clarify, they lived on the ground floor. The bedroom had one large window.
Okay, you know what? Fuck what I said earlier when I said, oh, what's so shocking is I think this really happened. This is fucking bollocks. This is absolute bollocks.
Bedroom had one large window that lacked a screen and opened directly into the parking lot. Well, lo and behold, when Piggy and I arrived at the bedroom, the window was open and there was no sign of our dashing lycanthropic gentle sir. At this point, I had reached my quota for how much bullshit I could handle in one evening, so I used the excuse of needing to get back to my dorm for school the following day to take my leave. I told Piggy how nice it was to catch up with her, and the Wolfbeard's secret was safe with me.
How do you have that conversation? After that, after her boyfriend pretending to turn into a werewolf and jumping out of the window, and presumably you going and searching around for him, like, how do you then wrap that up with, well, it's really been fun? Like, how do you go with that? It was so nice to catch up. Too bad that you're dating the Wolfman.
The Wolfman who really let himself go.
Yeah.
And this is Talbot's retarded cousin that he doesn't like to talk about. However, as I neared the front door, before I could reach for it, it burst open. Standing in the doorway was Wolfbeard once more, now panting wildly and dripping with sweat. If I thought he smelled bad before, he was now positively noxious. He also had what looked like some dirt quickly rubbed onto his forearms, as if meant to convince me he'd been out terrorizing the countryside in the 5 minutes he'd been out of the apartment. Feeding into his delusion, Piggy ran into his arms and called him like he had just escaped a harrowing experience. She asked him if his transformation was painful. He just pathetically nodded in response. Turning to me with what I imagined he thought was collected coolness, he ran a hand through his sweat-soaked hair and addressed me.
I hope I didn't scare you, stuck-up what was it I called her? Stuck up bitch or something?
Yeah.
Okay, it's just a. Hope I didn't scare you, stuck up self-involved bitch. I know I can get a little primal in this moon phase.
No, Miss B told me you know how to control yourself. Some shit. I don't know.
I responded, knowing damn well it wasn't good to play into their game, but honestly not knowing how else to end the situation.
They've started a new line, even though it's the same speaker, so that's confusing.
Yep.
I have to read ahead to figure out who's talking, and it's the same person.
Well, it was great meeting you, but I've got classes in the morning, so I'm gonna take off now.
I quickly spouted before he had a chance to start up some new element of the game. At this, he held out his sweaty, stinking, garden-crested arms as if expecting me to hug him. There was quite possibly nothing else on this earth that I wanted to do less than hug him, to be honest. So I was quick to dodge him and blame it on not wanting the dirt on his arms to get on my clothes. His response was to literally throw his shoulders down and pout like an overgrown toddler, and with 100% seriousness and no irony say,
Sad panda.
"Sad panda." It seemed to become a passionate mission of Wolfbeard's to try and get as close to me and touch me as much as he physically could anytime I was near over the encounters to come. Okay. And believe it or not, this evening wasn't even the worst of my encounters with him. Oh no, despite being engaged, Wolfbeard would soon decide that he wanted more than just friendship with yours truly. But that's another story to come.
That's amazing. I mean, I do think it's a work of fiction, but that's fucking crazy.
Your reaction when you said you read ahead about him being a lichen, that was priceless.
Oh, the person who posted it, posted by, yeah, I know who that is.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. Back in the Twitter days, we used to follow each other on there. When I still had Twitter. Yeah, I never knew she wrote really mean spirited shit like this before.
I mean, I see a picture of her here. It's about what I expected.
Yeah. So I mean, take from that what you will. I'm gonna go to bed because life's too short. So
Yeah. Yeah, we've been going for about 2 hours now anyway, so I'm gonna call it there. Uh, Maybe we'll continue this another time. It depends on whether or not if Kenzie is out with friends again sometime. But Cobe, I'm very glad that you joined us. I hope we can have you on again sometime soon.
yeah, I mean,
We can read something different.
yeah, I'd love to join for some reading stuff. I mean, I don't really want to read more wiki articles, but I'll read more stories with you.
Sounds good. All right, and Raptor, thank you as always for coming on. And everybody, thanks for tuning in.
Well,
I will be back Wednesday or next Wednesday with Gemma and Kenzie for dramatic reading. Not sure what we're going to be reading next week. And next Thursday, Kenzie and Raptor will be back for continuing Empress Theresa. So I'll see you guys later. Please like, comment, subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Same bean time, same bean channel.